dropping in. As you could probably see from the title today, I'm talking about how to move from an expensive hobby, hiya Diona, to a business. So, like I said in the title again, I'm calling out to all my fellow creative professionals, so we can edify each other really. I'm not an expert, but I've learned so much. As someone who was running an expensive hobby, I thought it would be lovely to come about and share what I've learned, so that if there's anybody who's still stuck in that space where you are running an expensive hobby, which presuming would not be intentional, then you can probably move to the next step. So what do I mean by, are you running an expensive hobby? So an expensive hobby, I wrote out 4 questions, which if you answer yes to any of those 4 questions, you definitely are running. If you answer yes to one or more of these questions, you definitely are running an expensive hobby. So the first one would be, you only look at your finances in terms of taxes when it's time to submit your taxes. Yes or no? And then you spend time planning when you're going to a networking event about what you're going to eat, or everything else but who you are going to meet. So basically, if you're spending time thinking about everything else and not the people that you want to meet at a networking event, yes or no? And then when you're getting ready, you spend time thinking about maybe a vacation, then you actually spend time thinking about how you're going to market your business. If you answer yes or no. And then you have no idea whatsoever what you earned in the previous month. So you answer yes or no. So if you've answered yes to one of those questions or more, then you are running an expensive hobby rather than a business. So I'll say that again. So you never look at your expenses unless and until it's time for taxes. When you're getting ready to go to a networking event, you think about everything else rather than the people that you want to meet at that networking event. And then the next one is you spend time planning your holidays rather than your marketing plan. And then the last one is you absolutely have no idea what you earned in the previous month. So if you answer yes to any of those 4 statements or questions, whichever way you want to put it, then you are running an expensive hobby. So now the thing is, we have to move on to say, right, okay, I've found that I am running an expensive hobby. So what do I do to actually move from that place where I do not want to run an expensive hobby anymore? By the way, guys, I'm actually one of those people that used to run an expensive hobby. And obviously, because I'm so passionate and I love what I do, I made that decision that I wanted to do what it takes for me to take my passion and what I enjoy and what I love to do and turn it into a sustainable business. So I'm going to give you 5 things that I've had to do. Some of them I'm still working on to make sure that I am running a business rather than an expensive hobby. And the first thing is, treat what I actually do as a business. There's a difference between an expensive hobby and a business. So by that, I mean, if I'm running a business, I need to wake up, show up, and do the work. I can't decide that, today I don't feel like it. Then, just like a job, if you are employed, you are expected to turn up at work. So that's one thing that you need to make sure you do, because many people have that mindset that if you leave work and you're working for yourself, you can do what you want. it's actually the other way around. When you have left work and you're running your own business, you in a place where you probably are doing more than you were doing when you were employed by someone else. So show up and actually do the work. So it's about making sure that maybe you set a time that you say, I'm going to wake up and start working at a certain time, and make sure you finish at a certain time. Basically, all the things that you have to do to make sure that you are treating what you call a business as a business, rather than treating it the way you want. For some people, you would be fortunate enough to have work unit where you're actually working from. But if you're working from home, it needs to be very clear that now you've started work and now you are finishing work. So that's the first one. Treat your craft or your creativeness as a business. And then the next one is work time needs to be work time, guys. Because you're working from home or you're doing you're working for yourself, doesn't mean that you can be talking to people anytime for endless amounts of time without putting a stop. People who care about you, your friends, your family, who know that you are running a business, need to actually acknowledge that you are setting time for work. So when they call you, there's nothing wrong with you telling them, guys, or whoever you're speaking to, I'm actually at work at this moment in time, can I get back to you? Or even not even answering the call and sending them a message and telling them, I'm really sorry, I'm not able to speak to you at this time because you are actually working. And then you find that schedule time to speak to them. This is something that I learned from one of my mentors, and who taught me that people can wait, things can wait. So if you are doing what you're doing, you're working, you need to focus on that. If you've got deadlines to meet, you need to make sure that you are actually meeting those deadlines. And I used to fall short of that myself a lot, because I made sure that I gave everybody else my time, and then I would find myself not sleeping, catching up with my work because I've been talking. I mean, some of you that know me, because I use my hands to work, I've had to invest in a Bluetooth headset so that I can speak while I'm working. But also I've found that even though I do that, it can be quite disruptive. So you end up making mistakes because you're not paying full attention to what you're doing. So that again has had to kind of change. And like I said in the beginning, I'm not an expert, but I'm only sharing what I've found very useful. I'm growing, and I'm seeing so much results and progress from where I was because of the steps that I've taken to acknowledge that I am in love with what I do, and I've decided that I'm going to make it into a sustainable business, and I'm following the steps that I'm giving you now. And to be honest, I find that I am getting results. So if you want to know any more and you want to understand more about my journey, you're welcome to get in touch with me. And then, so I've given 2 points. The third one is understanding why you're doing it. I know a lot of people that do things because someone else is doing it. It happens. I've done it before. I've tried things just because someone else is doing it. And to be honest with you, it was a waste of my time. But I don't look at it like that. I look at it as a lesson that, you should not do that. Don't do things because someone else is doing it. Because as I've mentioned before, we're all in this world to experience life, and all of us have got different purposes, and we all have different journeys that we are traveling in this world, and there is a beginning to our lives and there will be an end, whether we like it or not. So why do you want to waste your time mimicking someone else, and yet you have your own calling that you have to answer to? And when I say calling, some people say, well, what calling have you got, say maybe in creation or whatever, but when you are crafting something, you do it with love. And anything that you do in life, you transmit energy, and you transmit so much more than just what you're doing. And it actually becomes something of value to the person that's going to have it. So whether you're a speaker, whether you draw art, whether you knit, whether you sew, that is what is special about you. And when you do those things, the person that receives that actually gets the energy that is attached to the work that you are doing. So yeah, understanding your why are you doing what you're doing is one very, very important from moving to an expensive hobby into a sustainable business. And then the next thing is planning. This is something that I've spoken about in one of the lives that I did before. You know, you need to know your why, and when you know your why, you need to then probably ask yourself, if it's a financial goal that you want to achieve, how much do I want to achieve? And then when you've decided how much you want to achieve, then you can break that down into activities that will be able to get you to that point. So, you know, if you say you want to achieve £1 million, how are you going to do it with what you're doing? Maybe just doing items that you're selling might not be enough. It might be that maybe you need to do more than that. So understanding why you're doing it is very important, because then it allows you to map out the activities that align with your goal. And then last but not least is tracking your events, tracking what you're doing. So whatever you do, like I always go on every Sunday, I say, guys, we're reflecting on the previous week. What have you done? What did you achieve? Celebrate your wins, you know, something that I do every Sunday. And then on Monday, I'm like, let's set out our goals for the week. And then come again Saturday and Sunday, I'm looking at what actually have I made for that week? What have I achieved? So it's tracking. I always know what I've done the previous week, and then I know how much or what I need to do for the next week. So yeah, it's important to track, guys, because that's the only way that you will be able to achieve the results that you want to achieve. So those are the 5 steps that I have learned that would propel you from an expensive hobby to a sustainable business. If you want to know a bit more, if you want a greater insight into that, by all means get in touch with me, and I would gladly, you know, hear where you are and support you as much as I can. But yeah, as I said, I'm not an expert in this area, but definitely you can, if you had where I'm from to where I am now, you would realize that the points that I'm giving you are actually sustainable, because I have moved from that place of running an expensive hobby to a business. So I thought I'd drop by, guys, and share those nuggets with you.